Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the board's Special Faculty Permit Review Committee meeting. Pursuant to the provisions of Government Code Section 11133 and Governor Gavin Newsom's Executive Order N-1-22, this meeting is being conducted via WebEx. Public comments will be heard for each agenda item for individuals wishing to do so. In order to be ready for public comment, we ask to please ensure your comments can be heard clearly by being connected to the audio of this meeting through the proper method. If you're having difficulty hearing the audio of this meeting, it could be because the device you're connecting with has bandwidth limitations. If you do have difficulty hearing the audio of this meeting using your device, please click the ellipsis button at the bottom of the WebEx application or the audio and video menu item at the top of the WebEx application and then select Switch Audio. You will see an option to call in and will be provided with a telephone number, access code, and an attendee ID that you can use to connect to the meeting device or to the meeting audio via phone. Using the information provided, it will automatically disconnect your device's audio and connect your phone to the name you joined the meeting with. By using this method, if you're having audio problems with your device, this will still allow you to participate and hear the audio of the meeting. Please see the instructions on how to connect link at the last page of the meeting agenda for step-by-step WebEx instructions, including screenshots. Thank you, Dr. Helzer. You can now start the meeting.
Thank you, Sean, and good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to welcome you all to today's Special Faculty Permit Review Committee. My name is Jim Helzer, and I'm the newly appointed chair of the committee. I would first like to ask all attendees to please turn their cell phones to silent. Since this meeting is being conducted by WebEx, I ask all committee members and speakers to announce themselves by name before speaking for clarity of the official record. All committee members are able to unmute themselves to speak during the meeting. Please place yourself back on mute when not speaking to reduce background noise for all participants. Following this online meeting etiquette will ensure the best audio quality for everyone. During each call for comments from committee members and speakers, we will ensure that all comments that can be accommodated are heard before proceeding with the agenda. Government Code Section 11126.5 allows a board to remove people who willfully interrupt a meeting and to clear the room or virtual space if order cannot be restored by removing or muting disruptive people. During each agenda item, the host moderating this WebEx event will activate the Q&A and hand-raising features of WebEx and will ask anyone wishing to make a public comment to indicate so by replying yes in the Q&A window or by raising their hand. The host will then call on individuals who indicate that they wish to make public comments by name. When called upon, the host will unmute the microphone of the individual and they will be able to make their public comment. After the comment, the individual will be placed back on mute. Please see the agenda for WebEx instructions on how to connect from the link on the agenda and additional instructions. The board's IT staff will assist me with receiving public comments via WebEx during this meeting. Committee members, as a reminder, during today's meeting, any items requiring a vote will be done by roll call vote. This means that once a motion is made and seconded, Ms. Duran Franco will call each name individually to request our vote. I now call the meeting to order. Members, please indicate if you are present when your name is called. Ms. Duran Franco, please call the roll.
Dr. Alt,
Present.
Dr. Cohen, Dr. Jawortz, Dr. Yang,
Present.
Dr. Golnarek,
Present.
Dr. Katznelson, Dr. Louie,
Present.
Dr. Pai, Dr. Reese,
Present.
Dr. Siddiqui,
Present.
Dr. Whittington,
Present.
Ms. Lubiano. Here. Dr. Helzer.
Present. Thank you. We have a quorum. There are two applications being presented today. First, Dr. Guralnik will present applicant Dr. Hatice, Kader, Karli, Oğuz, and Dr. Reese will present applicant Dr. Karl, Peter, Lindholm during agenda item number 5. The next agenda item is public comment on items not on the agenda. The committee may not discuss or take action on any matter raised during this public comment section, except to decide whether to place the matter on the agenda of a future meeting. Are there any public comments?
I've gone ahead and activated the raising hand feature and the Q&A feature in the WebEx windows here. So if anyone would like to make a public comment, you can do so by pressing the hand next to your name in the attendee list, or by just typing you'd like to make a public comment in the Q&A box, and we can call on you where you can come off mute and go ahead and make your public comment. We'll give everyone just a few seconds here to see if anyone indicates they would like to. I'm not seeing any indication that anyone would like to make a public comment. Dr. Helzer.
Great, thank you, Sean. We'll now move to agenda item number 3, which is approval of the minutes from the March 16th, 2022 Special Faculty Permit Review Committee meeting. Are there any edits from the members? And hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Ian John, second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Sean, are there any public comments?
Q&A, the Q&A window and the hand raising features are still active for anyone wishing to make a public comment about the minute agenda item. Give everyone a few seconds here. Not seeing any hands or anything, Dr. Helzer.
Great, thank you. We'll go ahead and take a roll call vote to approve the minutes. Ms. Duran Franco, please call the roll.
Dr. Alt, Dr. Yang,
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I had to come off mute. This is Dr. Alt, yes.
Dr. Golnarek,
Yes.
Dr. Helmy. I'm sorry, that one was absent. Dr. Louie,
Approve.
Dr. Pai, Dr. Reese,
Approved.
Dr. Siddiqui,
Approved.
Dr. Whittington,
Approved.
Ms. Lubiano,
Approved.
Dr. Helzer.
I abstain. Thank you. The motion carries. We'll move to agenda item number 4, the introduction of new committee members. And I'll start with myself. I was recently appointed as chair of the committee by Board President Christina Lawson to replace Dr. Donadev. I am an anesthesiologist practicing in the Bay Area and have been a member of the medical board since June of last year. I would also like to welcome Dr. Robert Whittington, who will represent the David Geffen School of Medicine at UCLA, as Dr. Jonathan Hyatt has retired. Dr. Whittington, welcome, and thank you for joining our committee.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be on this committee, and I look forward to working with all the members to carry out its mission. And it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the members? Hearing none, are there any public comments?
The hand raising feature and the Q&A window are open for anyone wishing to make a public comment. You can go ahead and just raise your hand or type anything in that box, and we can call on you if you're so inclined. Everyone, a few more seconds here. I think you're clear to proceed, Dr. Helzer.
Great, thank you, Sean. Moving on to agenda item number 5, Dr. Gralnick will now present information regarding Dr. Hatice Karli Oğuz's application for a special faculty permit with the UC Davis School of Medicine pursuant to section 2168.1 of the California Business and Professions Code. Dr. Gralnick, the floor is yours.
I'm just going to apologize up front if I don't present everything I'm supposed to, because I haven't presented them before, but I will do my best. And I'm presenting Dr. Karli Oğuz for the special faculty permit. We believe that she's academically eminent or clearly outstanding under the provisions of the statute, and that she meets other eligibility requirements for the permit. Dr. Oğuz is an internationally recognized physician. She's recognized for her clinical and research expertise in neuroradiology and pediatric neuroradiology. Her areas of expertise include imaging of epilepsy, autoimmune diseases, neurodegenerative and inherited metabolic diseases, and brain tumors. Dr. Morris, the professor and chair of the Department of Radiology at UC Davis School of Medicine, recommends her for her extensive body of work, and she hopes that she will come to expand the medical community's understanding of neurologic conditions and diseases. She's expected to engage in clinical activities in the inpatient, outpatient, and do consults in neuroradiology, use advanced neuroimaging techniques, cover areas of diagnostic radiology, and develop an independent research program at UC Davis. Her accomplishments and achievements relative to her academic eminence are detailed in all of the attachments that came along with her materials. Just a little background on her. She went to medical school in Turkey at Hatice University, which is a very well-respected university there. Also did postgraduate study there, a residency in radiology, then went to Johns Hopkins University for a neuroradiology research fellowship, and then did an additional neuroradiology fellowship in Turkey as well at Hatice University. She currently is a professor and chief of neuroradiology at that university, Hacettepe University. She is also an affiliated professor with the National Magnetic Resonance Research Center at Bilkent University in Turkey. She's engaged in many projects and multidisciplinary research endeavors and has numerous publications and citations of her work, which further exemplify her distinguished academic and professional standing. If she's approved, she would hold a full-time faculty position as a visiting assistant professor with the Department of Radiology at UC Davis School of Medicine. Don't know if there's other information that you need me to add to this. Oh, I have a couple more things I can add. Let me just add these. She is a leading researcher in the field of neuroradiology and pediatric neuroradiology, both in Turkey and globally. She has over 20 book chapters, nearly 200 articles published in leading journals, including Neurology, Neuroradiology, Journal of Pediatric Neuroradiology, Neurologic Sciences, European Journal of Radiology, and the American Journal of Neuroradiology. She's a highly sought-after speaker. She routinely presents at both European and American Radiology Professional Society conferences, is an active member of the Turkish Society of Neuroradiology and the International Society for Magnetic Resonance in Medicine. Let's see, what else did I want to tell you about her? Additionally, for why it's important for us to have her come, the university had opened recruitment for 2 neuroradiologists that were fellowship trained in neuroradiology, and with an active recruitment, those positions remained unfilled, and we feel that would be very important for her to come and do so. I think that's it.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the committee for Dr. Gralnick? Dr. Siddiqui, I see your hand is up.
Yes, thank you very much. She sounds wonderful. I just have a couple of questions. You mentioned that she is full professor at this time, but then she's going to be appointed as assistant professor, visiting assistant professor at UC Davis. Is there a reason for the downgrade in her rank? And would she be a temporary person? You were mentioning her as...
Yes, I apologize for not mentioning the temporary piece. The intent is for her to come for a year. There's not an intent to renew her after that. They hope to continue to recruit for the position. And why she is at assistant, I don't have the answer to that.
And does she already have her visa and everything straightened out to be in the U.S., or because that's a separate step?
I don't know. I apologize. I don't have the answer to that particular question.
That's handled on the back end. So this is just to see if she qualifies for a special faculty permit, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. So it's currently for a 1-year appointment.
Dr. Pai, please go ahead.
Question is, I think to be eligible for special permit, it has to be at least associate professor or professor. Is that right? I may be wrong. Thank you.
Ms. Webb, can you comment on that?
Yes. It has to be at the level of full professor or associate professor for a 2168.1A1B appointment.
The letter said a full professor, visiting professor.
So let me see, because the original document that I have here said that, but I may have missed where it said it in the other letter. Let me look. I apologize if so. I'm looking. Is that?
Dr. Gyang, your hand is up. Please go ahead.
I wonder if it would be appropriate for me to make a motion that we approve her application contingent.
Not yet.
Okay.
That's a closed session.
We'll discuss that in closed session.
Matter.
Okay, so from what I can see, and I apologize that I didn't catch this before, the letter from Dr. Morris that I saw mentioned assistant professor, but actually I see that the letter of offer that they would like to make for her actually recommends her appointment as professor in the visiting series, and so it would be at a professor level. So I apologize for not catching that, that inconsistency.
Dr. Reese, please go ahead.
Yeah, I guess the other question besides the rank is that as visiting professor appointments are usually temporary, so the 2168s can be indefinite. Would this be somehow tied to, would this be a limited 2168 and tied to the term of her visiting appointment?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I can.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a visiting appointment is typically a temporary appointment. And 2168s can be, are indefinite and they can be renewed. So I was wondering, more of a question for the board, would it be appropriate to limit the term of the 2168 to the term of her visiting appointment?
And I had a related question to that.
Well, I mean, once her relationship with UC Davis ended, that would end her ability to have a special faculty permit unless she was appointed to another entity.
Dr. Gyang, please go ahead.
Related to Dr. Reese's question is for the board staff, is this a use of 2168? It's just something that we have never considered before on this committee, or should this be a 2113?
Well, as I understood it, Dr. Gralnick is describing her as someone who meets the requirements as being clearly outstanding, and that there's a great need to fill the position. So that would be under 2168.1A, 1B. And it doesn't, if the issue is about the temporary nature of her position, that's not something that's addressed for special faculty permits. They're available for whatever time the relationship with the university lasts and the person continues to meet the qualifications.
From what I can see, this series is it's a 1-year appointment. So
my understanding is that the permit would automatically lapse when her relationship with the university ends. Is that correct, Ms. Webb?
yes, she would have to be practicing with the university for this to be valid.
Are there other questions from the committee? Hearing none, are there any public comments?
If anyone would like to make a public comment, you can do so by raising your hand using the hand raising feature next to your name in the attendee list, or typing anything in the Q&A box, and that will trigger me to call on you to make a verbal public comment. Give everyone a few seconds here.
About UC appointments. Actually, all the appointments which are not ladder rank are time limited to 1 year, subject to renewal every year, whether it health sciences, clinical, or any other appointment, as long as it's not ladder rank.
Dr. Helzer, I do have one attendee here with a hand raised on a call-in line. I'm going to check to see who this might be here real quick.
Thank you, Sean.
Call-in user on the 714 area code, you can unmute your phone by pressing *6.
Yeah, hi. This is Mohammed Helmi. I apologize for joining late. I just wanted to acknowledge that I'll let you guys know I'm here. I don't have a direct question right now. I assume we're discussing the file for Dr. Oğuz.
Yes.
I'll go
Okay,
ahead and
thank you.
promote you to the panelist role. So you can use *6 to mute and unmute yourself now if you'd like.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I will mute myself now unless I have a question.
Thank you. That was the only request for public comment. Dr. Helzer?
Great, thank you, Sean. Are there any other comments or questions from the committee? Okay, we'll move on to Dr. Reese's presentation regarding Dr. Karl Peter Lindholm's application for a special faculty permit with the UC San Diego School of Medicine, pursuant to Section 2168.1 of the California Business Professions Code. Dr. Reese, please proceed.
Thank you. Well, this is an application of a well-qualified, somewhat unique individual, Peter Lindholm, who has expertise in two areas. One is radiology, and the other is hyperbaric and diving medicine. Dr. Lindholm is a native of Sweden. He received his education and training at the Karolinska University, received both an MD and a Ph.D. He subsequently obtained additional fellowship training in diving medicine, and then completed his residency in radiology. He's had dual appointments at Karolinska as a faculty member in the Department of Physiology as well as the Department of Radiology. And in radiology, he reached a level of associate professor. And in radiology, he was when he left there, he was the chief of thoracic radiology. The situation at UCSD is he was recruited here in 2019 by the Department of Emergency Medicine. Emergency medicine here has a strong interest in diving and hyperbaric medicine and had an endowed chair for someone in that field. And they did an international search and identified Dr. Lindholm as a candidate. So he was appointed to develop a research program in hyperbaric medicine in the Department of Emergency Medicine. He was appointed here shortly before the pandemic, and he's, over the last couple of years, successfully established that program. However, he also would like to continue develop his skills and utilize his skills in thoracic radiology, and our Department of Radiology has a need for such an individual. So he does have a secondary appointment in the Department of Radiology, and that's the basis of requesting the 2168, so that he can utilize his clinical skills in our radiology department. He's extensive publications, both in hyperbaric medicine and in radiology. He has active research grants in hyperbaric medicine, and he has excellent references, including from both our chair of emergency medicine, Dr. Chan, and our chair of radiology, Dr. Norbash, who I believe is on the call, who may want to make additional comments. But we feel he's well qualified for a 2168. He's currently at the professorial level at UCSD. Alex, would you invite Alex to make any additional comments? Dr. Norbash?
we'll first ask for comments or questions from the committee, and then we'll proceed to public comment after that. So are there questions or comments from the committee? Hearing none, are there any public comments?
I see Dr. Norbash's hand up here. I'm going to go ahead and call on you. Dr. Norbash, you should be receiving a prompt on your end to unmute your line. Looks like your line's open, Dr. Norbash.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
We can. Yeah, please go ahead.
Good afternoon. I'm Alexander Norbash. I'm the chair of radiology at the University of California, San Diego. I believe that Peter would be a remarkable addition to our department. He is a physician scientist who is very respected, an incredible educator, and very, very innovative. In fact, at the potential promise of his coming to us clinically, he started establishing a couple of collaborative programs, including xenon imaging with MRI of the lungs. He builds on our current excellence, which is historic because of Dr. West's presence as a physiologist, as a pulmonary physiologist at UC San Diego. We feel we can fully capitalize on his strengths and the opportunities he provides us. And he is also a remarkable clinician who led the Karolinska's chest imaging division, which is a very prestigious imaging division. We have need for a remarkable leader such as him, and we thank you for your kind consideration.
Thank you, Dr. Norbash. At this time, Dr. Helzer, I don't see any additional hands or anything.
Thank you, Sean. Are there any other comments from the committee? All right, hearing none, we will now move into closed session for committee review and recommendation, and we'll return to our open session before adjourning the meeting. The committee members who presented the candidates will not be present during the deliberations and vote on their respective candidate. So I'd like to ask the committee to please log off this meeting and log into our closed session invitation. We'll return to this WebEx before the end of the meeting. Thank you all.
And Dr. Helzer, I got to point out for the committee members who did join through the public link, that's not available for the closed session, obviously. So I'm going to go ahead and send everyone a reminder right now. It should be at the top of your inbox with that link to go ahead and join that meeting. If you have any questions.
If you can hear me, quick question. When I do try to link, it asks me for a panelist password. Was that sent to us separately?
No, if you scroll down in that email, you'll see it just shortly below that link.
Okay, so the email you're sending now, I can use that to log in. It'll have the information needed.
Yeah, the password is in the same email.
Okay, and that's for the closed session that we're going into now.
Correct.
Thank you so much. Okay.
All right, thank you. See you guys over there. And as Dr. Helzer mentioned, any public attendees who wish to remain in the open session through the closed session, we will leave it open. I'll be displaying a closed session until they're ready to return, and at which time they will reconvene and share the outcome of the deliberations.
We're now back in open session. The committee has reviewed Dr. Karli Oğuz's application and qualifications and recommends approval for a special faculty permit appointment once all requirements for issuing the permit are met. In addition, the committee has reviewed Dr. Lindholm's application and qualifications and recommends approval for a special faculty permit appointment once all requirements for issuing the permit are met. These recommendations will be presented to the full board at the December 2022 quarterly board meeting. As there is no further business before the committee, this concludes our meeting, and the meeting is now adjourned. Thank you all for attending.